I want to extend my appreciation for the Counter-Extremism Project's research on what the U.S. Department of State calls racially or ethnically motivated violent extremism, or REMVE. I commend Shemek and his co-authors for their important contributions to our understanding of the dynamics surrounding the Independence Day March in Warsaw. My remarks are intended to provide a macro level perspective on the significance of Central, Eastern, and Southern Europe as a destination for the global REMVE milieu. First, I want to stress that countering REMVE is a top priority for the Biden-Harris administration. It was the deadly Unite the Right rally in August 2017 in Charlottesville that inspired President Biden to return the public service. Upon taking office, President Biden asked his National Security Council to conduct a review of policies on this issue across the federal government, which resulted in the first ever national strategy for countering domestic terrorism. I'd like to touch on Pillar 1 of the strategy: understand and share domestic terrorism related information, which includes research and analysis, information sharing with governmental and non-governmental stakeholders, and exposing the transnational aspects of REMVE. For years following the September 11th attacks, governments around the world focused mostly on the threat from Islamist terrorism. Given horrific attacks in locales such as Amman, Bali, Mogadishu, Paris, and elsewhere, it was imperative that we neutralize the threat from Al-Qaeda, ISIS, and their affiliates. However, with the increased spread of the Great Replacement theory and other racist, anti-Semitic, and xenophobic conspiracy theories, particularly online, we started to see more mass casualty attacks by REMVEs, including the murder of 77 people in Norway in 2011, the murder of 7 people at a Sikh temple in Wisconsin in 2012, the murder of 9 people at an African-American church in Charleston in 2015, the murder of 6 people at a mosque in Quebec City in 2017, and the murder of 11 people at a synagogue in Pittsburgh in 2018. And the trial is underway in Pittsburgh for that alleged attacker. All these attacks were met with international condemnation, but it was the live stream murder of 51 people at 2 mosques in Christchurch in March 2019 that led to international consensus that these were not isolated incidents and that we faced a significant and increasing threat from transnational REMVE. While there was increased political will following the Christchurch attacks, including many governments and online service providers endorsing the voluntary commitments outlined in the Christchurch call to action, there was a general lack of understanding about the drivers of radicalization, recruitment, and mobilization to REMVE. Many of the accelerationists referred to perpetrators of prior REMVE attacks as saints in their so-called manifestos, and they often mimic the tactics of ISIS. Some REMVE ideologies also overlap with anti-government, conspiracy theorists, and violent misogynist movements. Further, there are indications that the Kremlin and its acolytes inside and outside the Kremlin support and amplify REMVE individuals and groups as a way of undermining other countries, the EU and NATO. In 2020, the State Department designated the Russian imperial movement and 3 RIM leaders as specially designated global terrorists for providing training for acts of terrorism that threaten national security and foreign policy of the US, and for being leaders of such a group. RIM has training facilities in Russia. 2 participants of this training and another REMVE went on to conduct a series of terrorist attacks in Gothenburg, Sweden in 2017. Beyond training, many REMVEs find inspiration from the authoritarianism and misogyny of Vladimir Putin, whom many REMVEs revere alongside Adolf Hitler. Through the research of the Counter-Extremism Project and other think tanks and research institutions, we have learned that most cases of domestic terrorism have a transnational nexus. To cite a striking example, the Christchurch attacker traveled across Central, Eastern, and Southern Europe in late 2018 seeking inspiration and to embellish his bona fides among other white supremacists. Others have relocated to the region because they believe their REMVE activities will face less scrutiny than in their home countries. Last month, for example, an American member of the Rise Above movement was arrested in Romania. Another US citizen who allegedly founded the REMVE group, the base, is reportedly living openly in Russia. In addition to those residing in Central, Eastern, and Southern Europe, we have seen nationals from Australia, Canada, Germany, the United States, and other countries travel to Poland and elsewhere in the region to train and build up their transnational network. Last August, two American white supremacists traveled to Poland and took photographs and videos of themselves holding anti-Semitic signs at the Auschwitz-Birkenau Memorial Museum. They also harassed a man, a dark-skinned man, and told him to get out of their country, like they lived there, which they didn't. As discussed in prior counter-extremism project webinars and reports, the white supremacists who murdered 10 people in Hanau in 2020 obtained firearms training at a commercial facility in Slovakia. In 2020, Polish authorities arrested a German man suspected of being a member of a REMVE group for possession of firearms, a grenade, and 2.6 pounds of explosive material. Another prominent example is Anton Tulin, formerly of the Nordic resistance movement and currently designated by the US as a specially designated global terrorist. This Swedish national traveled to Poland in 2019 to obtain weapons training and was deported by Polish authorities. These cases highlight the importance of information sharing, including about trends and travel of known REMVEs. This is why the State Department and the Department of Justice launched the inaugural meeting of the Counterterrorism Law Enforcement Forum, the CEP, which the government of Germany co-hosted in Berlin last May. This two-day event brought together over 100 law enforcement practitioners from over 40 countries to build an informal global coalition, focusing on locales where REMVE groups, networks, and actors have been active. The second meeting of the CEP will take place in June in Oslo this year, which the government of Norway will co-host with us. To raise awareness about the transnational REMVE threat, the State Department has organized discussions across Europe and North America. In Pittsburgh last year, for example, we organized the panel Hate and Polarization in Central and Eastern Europe at the Eradicate Hate Global Summit, which featured 3 Polish experts, including the Counter-Extremism Project's very own Kasper Rekovic. This year's summit will feature the same topic, but with a new group of panelists, including Dr. Schindler. Mayors are another group of stakeholders we have engaged to raise awareness about transnational aspects of REMVE. In January, the State Department brought mayors and other local leaders from Antwerp, Helsinki, Munich, and Nuremberg to the U.S. Conference of Mayors winter meeting in Washington to discuss REMVE with their American counterparts. This engagement was a follow-up to Mayoral Summit on Hate and Polarization, the Strong Cities Network organized in The Hague last November for mayors and other local leaders from Belgium, Hungary, the Netherlands, Poland, Slovakia, and the United States. We have much more to learn about global REMVE networks, tactics, and impact, and much more coordination is needed to stop REMVE individuals and groups from traveling to Central, Eastern, and Southern Europe to expand their networks. The attack that happened in Bratislava last October against the LGBTQI plus friendly bar, which resulted in the murder of 2 people, in my view, is a game changer. REMVE poses a threat not only to our security, but REMVE poses a threat not only to our security, but democracy globally, with Russia and other malign actors amplifying narratives aimed at dividing the transatlantic alliance and painting a false dystopian picture of democracies. Given the dynamics I outlined here, we are looking forward to more research and analysis on the role that this region plays in the global REMVE problem set, and on research and evidence-driven solutions for countering its impact on our democratic ways of life. Thank you.